I have this cartoon series called Story of Trey, and I created it. I've been creating it since 2018-19 with the animation, but I had the idea since 2015 with comic strips. I made 17 episodes over the past couple years. My animation is getting a lot better, so you can expect a lot more episodes coming up soon. Making these episodes, I realized that some of the episodes are a lot better than others. So in this video, I'm gonna rank all 17 episodes from worst to best. I got these tiers that I'm gonna use to organize what episodes are which. I got the D tier. The D tier are bad episodes. These are episodes that I don't like and that I just think are bad. There's the C tier. The C tier are episodes that are okay. They're not great. They're kind of forgettable, but they're okay. The B tier are episodes that are good. Episodes I like and that stand well. And the A tier are great episodes that really resonate with me and that I feel have a lot of messages, and you get the idea. So without further ado, let's get on to this list. The single worst episode of Story of Trey, in my opinion, is Lowrider, Season 1, Episode 6. This is because I feel like there's not really any storyline. They just go to a party. We start off with them goofing around, and then they get invited to a party and go to it. There's not really any problem they have to overcome, except for at the end where Joe and Trey get in a fight. But it really feels like it's just not really a story, it's just kind of a party thing. Kind of like Dazed and Confused, but with no character development at all. This is why I think Lowrider is the worst episode. At number 16, the second worst episode, I have Party of Trey. Now, Party of Trey was a little better than Lowrider, because yes, they party and there's not really much of a plot, but at least the characters want something. For instance, Trey wants to get with Sarah, Andy wants to get with Lucy, and you can tell that the characters have a little more desire and they actually have a goal they want to get done. Now, there is a lot of partying, there's not really any problem, except for when the police come in and take over the house. But besides that, I feel like the whole Party of Trey episode was not really that good. It felt like there wasn't really much keeping the audience engaged. It was just them going to a party, but there were some desires like Trey wanting to get with the girl and whatnot. And there were some lessons too, which I did appreciate, but that is the second worst episode. At number 15, we have Clone of Trey. In this episode, Trey accidentally clones himself a ton and makes a bunch of clones, and they have to get rid of them. I like this concept. It just felt like there weren't that many funny jokes, and I felt like the characters were a little inconsistent. Like there was this one scene where Trey just goes along with Ethan. That didn't really feel like something Trey would do normally. He would probably tell Ethan to shut up, and that's a dumb idea. Once I thought you couldn't get any stupider, you make a really awesome idea. It just felt like the characters were a little inconsistent in Clone of Trey. But I like the ending where they send the clones to South Park as like a joke, and they put them in that universe. At number 14, we have Science Fair. Now this episode was a little better because there was a plot. They make an invention and then start selling it for the science fair. They weren't allowed to sell the invention anymore, and they made thousands of dollars. It just felt a little bit uninteresting, and I felt like I could have done something better than that, but I feel like it was an okay episode. I guess the ending punchline was funny where Ethan spends all the money on stuff. And we made a ton of money!
Oh, that? I spent it on pot.
God damn it, Ethan. At number 13, we have Christmas of Trey. Now this episode was obviously rushed because I wanted to get it done in time for Christmas. It wasn't terrible. I mean, they have to rescue Ethan from the North Pole, but it wasn't that long. It was a short episode, but that's not what I'm judging these episodes on. There was definitely a plot. They have to get Ethan from the North Pole, but I felt like the jokes were a little bit overused with the Andy owes me $20 thing. I feel like I could have added some more diverse jokes and something a little more unique to the plot. At number 12, we have Get a Job. Now, Get a Job is actually one of my fans' favorite episodes, but I think it was okay. Like, there was this scene where Trey's crush gets a boyfriend and there's this awkward scene, but you wouldn't really understand that scene unless you've seen the pilot. It feels like the ending was a little rushed. There was more to the script, but I kind of rushed it, and I can't help but to think Andy pushes Trey a little bit in this episode to get a job, but I guess that is the character development because he apologizes at the end. I don't know, I think this episode is the best of the C tier. It's not good, but it's not bad. So I put it at the top of the C tier because it actually has a storyline. They're trying to get a job. There's something that they're trying to accomplish. And there's character development. It's not memorable like the best thing you can oh, that's amazing. But it's something that I think deserves to be at the top of the C tier. Now, we are on the B tier. The B tier are good episodes. Ethan for President is number 11. I feel like Ethan for President was a good story. Basically, Ethan is trying to become the president of his high school. And then he's competing with Joe trying to become the president. I think this episode has a really important message where it's not important to win, it's important to do what's right for the majority of people. For instance, at the end of the episode, we see that Ethan doesn't really want to be president, he just wants to beat Joe. So at the end of the episode, he says this.
Actually, I changed my mind. I feel like Joe would be a better president than me.
What the hell is he doing?
I just feel like Joe wants it more. And it's all just a popularity contest anyways.
And I think that was really strong of Ethan to say. It kind of adds character development to him. And there are some funny jokes in it. It's not the most memorable episode, but it's consistent, has a good story, and it's funny. I think it's a good episode. At number 10, we have ButlerBot. Now this episode is where ButlerBot was invented by Andy Roller, the genius of the pack. The story felt a little confusing with the whole Joe breaks in and copies all the ButlerBots and they have to figure it out. But the ending was kind of funny where Andy saves the day. Writing was okay because I thought there were a lot of funny jokes, and I thought the concept of them having a robot to do their chores was pretty unique and creative. At number 9, we have Revolutionary War. This is the episode where they go back in time to 1776 to study for the history test on the Founding Fathers. However, the time machine runs out of batteries, so they have to get Benjamin Franklin to conduct electricity with a kite so they can get back to the present. I liked this episode. I thought it was really creative how technically Trey invented electricity by thinking the idea of using a kite to conduct electricity. I did like this episode, and I felt like Trey was a little numbskully in the episode. He could have been written a little better. I feel like there was a lot of character development, but he doesn't end up passing the test. At number 8, we have Piloted Trey. Piloted Trey I felt like was a good introduction for the Story of Trey series. The kids ditch school to see a Disrupted concert. I named the band Disrupted as a play off of Disturbed. I felt like it was a good introduction. We get to meet Mr. Bird. He's the teacher and he's kind of lazy and tired, but he's also the disciplinarian and he wants the best for the kids. We get to see the introduction to how all the characters are, and I felt like this was a good episode. There was a story. They ditch school for a concert and they try to avoid Mr. Bird. And at the end, they get caught. It wraps up pretty well, and then Trey takes the blame. And I think there was character development in that story. I did like it. At number 7, we have Buggy Chad. I like this episode a lot. This is the episode where ButlerBot ends up going to school with them, disguise him as a student, and everyone thinks he's a student named Buggy Chad. I did like this episode because The concept I felt like was pretty funny, and at the end he totally disses Joe. A lot of you seem to like that episode, but I feel like that was a good episode. Now we are on the A tier. At number 6, we have time travel. I like this episode. In this episode, they accidentally go back to 1985, and Trey runs into his dad in the past. They have to figure out how to get back to the present. It was a good episode. There was a plot, and they tried to figure it out. And we got to meet Andy's mother, which was kind of funny. She's totally mean and grouchy. Yeah, I think this was a good episode. At number 5, we have Breaking Weed. This is when the animation started getting really good, and this is like the new latest episode. Trey starts selling weed and starts making a bunch of money. It has a lot of Breaking Bad references, which I think is funny. I feel like this episode was a parody on Breaking Bad, but it was also silly in its own way. At number 4, we have Strip Bar Casino. Strip Bar Casino, I think, was a good episode. When we wrote Strip Bar Casino, we sat at a table and looked up the hero's journey. Yes, it is a party episode, but I put a lot of effort into the story, and I feel like this episode was actually good. It wasn't just a party episode. We see Sarah trying to overcome what her coach said about Trey, how he doesn't like Trey. We see the problem happen when they lose the car keys. There were some scenes that were a little unnecessary, like the gas station scene, but that was still kind of funny. At number 3, we have Disney Channel Sucks. Now, I really like this episode. This was an episode where Trey, Ethan, and Andy realize how much Disney Channel sucks, so they make their own show trying to one-up it, and Disney Channel actually reaches out to them and gives them a show. At the end, they realize how corrupt Disney Channel is, and just want to be normal high school kids again. But I like this episode because it's commentary on how corrupt Disney Channel is, and how they underpay their actors, child actors, and how preachy their shows are. I just wanted to make a little joke about that. I felt like that was a good episode. I feel like the montage of them making a film and how their film turned out, I think that was really creative, and I'm proud of that one. At number 2, we have Cultathon. Now, I almost think this is number 1 in a sense, but this is number 2. Cultathon was really good because it told a story. They have to do this run-a-thon at school where they run 2 miles, but they don't want to do it, so they start their own religion so they can get out of the run-a-thon. But then they make the religion about Kanye West, and this whole thing happens where they accidentally actually start a real religion. Now, I really think this episode was honestly funny. It got a lot of good reviews and comments from people. I love this episode because I guess there wasn't much character development, but I felt like this episode had it had a storyline, and I followed it well, and I kept it on track, and I think it was really funny. I felt like the jokes were really well written, and also this is when the animation style changed from Simpsons-y to more realistic-y, and I was really ambitious about making a new kind of style, fleshing out the characters more, and that's probably why this episode turned out really well. At number 1, the final best episode that I think, in my opinion, is the best episode, is Homecoming. And I know what you're thinking. Homecoming, that was a weird episode from season 1. Bear with me. Homecoming, I think, was a good episode because there was a storyline where Trey wants to impress Sarah at the dance. The problem happens when Joe threatens to insult Trey on stage and they have a rap battle. So through the whole episode, Trey is trying to find ways to diss Joe on stage and try to embarrass him. Yes, there is a lot of partying in this episode, which I feel like could have been avoided. I feel like it could have focused on the plot more than just like smoking weed and alcohol. There was a lot of that, but there was also a lot of messages. Like towards the end of the episode, Trey actually does end up dissing Joe at the rap battle, and everyone thinks he's awesome. But the character development happens when they find out that Joe's gonna be suspended, and Trey goes into the bathroom to hear Joe crying. They have this dialogue that I feel like is the reason why Joe isn't bullying Trey anymore. Joe used to bully Trey from the pilot to this episode, but once they have this dialogue, their dynamics slightly change and they become more and more friends. They're actually totally friendly now in the current episodes, but before they weren't, and I think this episode opened that door for that. Once I finished Homecoming, I had a better idea for how to use the characters. What happened was, originally in Homecoming, they were gonna get Joe in trouble, and Mr. Bird was actually gonna handcuff him and strap him to a pole and with a bra on. And then we all wrote that, and then I'm like, wait, this is stupid. Why would Mr. Bird do that? And B, that's not really that funny, that's just mean. So I changed the script, made Homecoming better, because then I rewrote the whole episode, making it where Trey and Joe become friends, and I think that made it a lot better. So that is why Homecoming is number 1. That's where the characters started really fleshing out. And there you have it, the 17 episodes from worst to best. I hope you enjoyed this video. I made this video so you could understand like what episodes I like and what episodes you like. If you think some episodes are better than others or worse than others, I love feedback. Just let me know what you guys want to see in the future. I'm working on a new episode, a lot of new episodes for season 4. My animation is coming along a lot faster than it used to because my softwares are getting better. So yeah, stay tuned for more Toons films and music and have a great day.
These Toons.